friends, we're back with another episode of Grace Notes, working on the Grace Notes journal, and today I have the beginning, part 1 of 10 fun writing spaces for the journal. So again, I've broken this into 2 sections so it doesn't become too long. So the first of the 10 writing spaces, the first 5, the first one is what I call a faux envelope fold. The second one is just using scrapbook offcuts. The third one is a scrap pad. The fourth one is writing papers, which is going to be a freebie, and lined backing paper, which is going to be another freebie. So stay tuned, I'll do those ones at the end, and I'll go through these 3 first. So the first one is a faux envelope fold. So this is an example of a faux envelope fold. This is a teeny tiny one. So it looks like a little envelope, but when you open it, it's a writing space, and you can even use the back as well. So that's a faux envelope. And here's a bigger one. So it just folds up like this. This one I stamped some lines on it. I sewed around this one, and I stamped a little bit on the fold and put a word there. So I'm just going to show you quickly how to do that. It's really simple, and this is not a new idea. There's lots of people I've seen do this. I'm not sure where the first one was that I saw, but so first of all, you meet your top 2 corners together and give it a little pinch at the edge there, and then fold down just to meet that edge on one side, and then do it on the other side. So then these 2 corners, these 2 edges should meet exactly, and you have your peak here. And then that's your envelope, and you can leave that open like that for some extra space, or you can glue that shut. I usually glue it shut. So I'll just put a couple drops of glue there and glue that shut like that. And then you can fold this up however you want. You kind of want this to, look like an envelope at the end. So you can do it in 3s, you can do it in 4s. This one, I think, just kind of play with it until you see, kind of what you want. I want this to come down to look like an envelope, so something like that. The folds don't have to be equal, but you can kind of just play with it until you get it where you want it, and just give it a quick fold, and then you can kind of open it up and just straighten up the folds a little bit. There's probably a better scientific way of doing this. You could definitely measure and all that too, but because I just use whatever, like this one was just a tiny little offcut that I had, and I decided to make that. So this particular one here was half of an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So I took a 8.5 by 11 piece of coffee dyed paper, and I cut it in half and long ways, and then I made 2 of them. But you can use this with any scrap. It doesn't have to be coffee dyed paper. It could be scrapbook paper, anything kind of fairly thin. But there you go, and then you can just tuck it into a pocket wherever you want. So that's the first one. The second one is scrapbook offcuts, and this is just really anything goes. I had a bundle of, just a box, a bin. I showed it in a couple of videos, just of some things that I gathered, and some things that I had, I'd use a little bit and I throw it in the bin, and then when I go to work on something for that journal, I just take the bin out and ruffle through and find what I can find, and then at the end I'll just either throw away little pieces and things I don't want anymore, or file the rest back where I can put it. But so this was one of the scrapbook pages that I had parts of left. So I just cut that into this size. I backed it with some coffee dyed paper. I used one of my decorative punches for the edges, the corners. Put a little bit of a hymn page there. That was in my leftover thing. This was just something I was experimenting with watercolor the other day, so I thought, throw that on there, and just one of the words. And this was just in the scrap bin too. It was teal, so I had thrown it in there. So just a simple little journal card. This one, I had a little bigger one. This one I'm envisioning maybe I could use even for a writing board. This one I backed onto manila file folder and sewed around the edges. And this one I just put in a couple of pieces of that shiny, crinkly, whatever you call that. I'm not sure what you even call it. And I had a piece of a doily left. It was just in this exact piece. It was kind of torn and whatever, so I just zigzagged down the edge. And I'll put one of my collages or something there at the end. I don't have them all handy, but that one probably is too small. But you know, have lots of pieces that I made that I can throw, you know, something there to decorate that at the end. So I will decorate that later. This one was kind of similar. I just did a little smaller rectangle. Pardon me. I sewed a piece of lace down the edge, and I sewed one of these crinkly things as well. This one I sewed a little tab on the edge and backed it with. This one was a grid paper, so I have a little bit of a guide for my lines there. This one was same paper again. I just put some scraps here, and again I'll put a collage or something over top of there. It looks kind of odd now, but and then at the back was some other scrapbook paper that I had with some lines, and I just backed it with that. So put those together. Here's another one with that same fabric. This one I put fabric paper. And this one I put, this is I think a project life card actually. I didn't like the other side of it, so I put it down this way. Put a faint stamp in the middle. This one I did a border punch with some hearts and a stapled piece of lace at the top. And there's the back of that one. This one was just a little scrap of some paper I had in there. I just folded it over and did a little edge there. Probably didn't even ink that edge. Probably inked that edge. And, you know, just something as simple as that you can tuck into a pocket. I'll probably put a word or something on that one after, a label. This one was, I think, another one of those Project Life cards. I think that was, and this was as well. And I folded up each edge. So I folded up this edge here, and I folded up this edge here. This one I left for a bit of a pocket. And I also left the inside open. So I might just, you know, stick kind of make it into a big belly band or something and stick something in there in the journal. So there's that. This was just a piece of blue paper that I had dyed with some purple cabbage, and I just had a little piece and I folded it in half. And that's it. This one I had a piece of manila folder left, so I just did some lines inside. Put a whale tab punch on the top. Again, I'll probably do something on the front when I go to decorating. So those are my scrapbook offcuts. So just totally random various things that you can just turn into a writing space in a journal. So there's that. And the next one is a scrap pad. So here's a real simple one. I just took two little pieces, or was this four? Maybe it was two little pieces of coffee dyed paper. I had a piece of ledger paper. I wrapped that around and put a little ribbon tab at the top and stapled it and put a little faint bird stamp at the top. So very, very simple, but it's an effective thing when you just tuck something like this into a little pocket. Probably, tuck a few things into a pocket. You'll tuck something like this in, something like this, and something like this. It just is quite effective. So there's a little one. This is a bigger one. I took one of the cards from the original kit that said Grace Notes, and this I just had various offcuts of paper. Some of them were things I was experimenting on. It's just really rough, different things. A lot of them have coffee on them, and I just lined them all up at the top. I ripped them off so they were, I kind of made all the side edges about the same, and then I ripped them off so that they were graduating lengths here, and stapled a piece. I stapled it across and then stapled a piece of lace for a little tab at the top. So super simple. Maybe this is too junky for you. If it is, don't do something like this, but I like it. And here's the two freebies. So there's two scrolls, I'm calling them, but they're just going to be like folded papers to tuck into a pocket. And on the back I did a lined backing paper. So this can be used for anything in the journal. I used it for backing some of my tags. This is just a couple of things that I backed with the little bits that I had left at the end. So this is a couple more writing spaces. But I backed some of my other tags and different things as I went as well. You can use it for a writing page in the journal, which I think I'm going to do as well. So basically for these, you just cut them out and fold them and they're good. You can do something fancier with them if you like. But they're simple, already designed for you. So, and I added 2 new scriptures on here. This one is Hebrews 4:16, which says, "Let us then with confidence draw near to the throne of grace, that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in time of need." So that's a precious promise in Hebrews for us. And then this one says, "But by the grace of God I am what I am, and his grace toward me was not in vain. On the contrary, I worked harder than any of them, though it was not I, but the grace of God that is in me, is with me." And that's from 1 Corinthians 15:10. So basically you can fold them into thirds, or you can fold them into half. I think I'm going to fold it into roughly a third for this one. So you can ink around the edges if you like, but basically, I'll straighten that one out just a little bit here. Basically that's it. And then you can just tuck that into a pocket of some sort. So there's that one. You can round the corners if you like. You can also fold them in half, or even into thirds, and then put a circle and glue half of it on here and half of it just leave open, and you can have like a little tuck space for that. But I think I'm just going to go simple this time and just simply do that. So I'll cut the other one out and fold it, and then I'll be back next time to show you 5 more fun writing spaces, and there'll be another freebie. So watch for that. Subscribe if you haven't, so that you can see when that comes up. And I would love for you to give a like to my videos if you're enjoying this series, and if you're finding these projects useful. I would love if you would like the video. Thanks, friends. See you next time.